Good evening, and thank you for joining us for tonight's presentation, Coexisting with Cougars, Protecting Wildlife when Reducing Conflicts. Before we get started, I wanted to make everyone aware that this presentation is being recorded. I am Ashley Hanna, Program Coordinator at the Pajarito Environmental Education Center, or PEAC, in Los Alamos, New Mexico. I will be the moderator for tonight's talk. PEAC is a nonprofit organization that operates the Los Alamos Nature Center. Visit our website, peaknature.org, to learn more about visiting the Nature Center and our upcoming events. I want to acknowledge our wonderful members and donors for your generous support. For details about other PEAC programs, please visit peaknature.org or stop by the Nature Center. Just a few logistics before we get started. Our presenters will be taking questions via Zoom chat and from our in-person audience. For those of you watching from home, find the chat feature in your Zoom app menu bar. Type your question to the PEAC moderator in the chat window anytime during the talk, and I'll read them during our Q&A at the end. Please remember that not everyone in the room with us here has a microphone, so there may be a delay when we're taking questions from a live audience member. Don't worry, we'll be back in a second and repeat the question for everyone to hear. After this talk, you will receive a short evaluation in your email. Please take a moment to fill that out. Your input helps us improve future programs. Now, a bit about tonight's presenters. Sarah Milligan is a Natural Resource Programs Manager at Bandelier National Monument, where she oversees wildlife conservation and habitat management in one of New Mexico's most diverse ecosystems. With extensive experience in wildlife management throughout the greater Los Alamos area, Sarah has worked closely with local communities to promote coexistence with native species. Passionate about public outreach, Sarah is dedicated to helping people better understand and appreciate the wildlife that share our landscape. Mark Payton is a wildlife biologist and co-owner of the Wildlife Conservation and Creative Design LLC, a company dedicated to connecting people with the natural world through conservation and science communication. Currently pursuing a PhD at New Mexico State University, Mark's research focuses on mountain lion behavior and ecology in the Jemez Mountains. As a previous National Park Service biologist, Mark is dedicated to wildlife conservation and further human-wildlife coexistence. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm going to turn it over to Sarah and Mark now and watch for your chats in the chat box.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. Ashley, thank you. I think you introduced us pretty well. So thanks for coming to our talk, Coexisting with Cougars. Hopefully we can answer some of your questions tonight about kind of lions in Los Alamos. So hang on. There we go. All right. So just for those of you, I guess, on Zoom that can't see what we look like, here's some slides. Ashley pretty much read everything on them. I did start work on this project in about 2018 when one of the collared lions kind of came over into Bandelier, and I started helping Mark track them. And then, yeah, the only other thing Ashley didn't say is we do a lot of other work, wildlife work at Bandelier. If anybody's interested in talking about that, we can chat about that. But and then there's Mark. And I think I'll just leave these slides up the whole time. I think the only thing maybe Ashley didn't mention is Mark started on this project when it first started in 2012 and used to work at the Caldera. But speaking of the project, we're not really going to talk about our project tonight. The research we're doing, we've been doing research for over 10 years, collaring large mammals, bears, cougars, elk, and deer. We do have, I think, 2 other presentations that we've done at PEAC that are on the website if you guys are interested in watching those and learning more about the project. This will kind of be focused more on interacting, quote unquote, with lions. But outline of today's talk, pretty basic at the beginning. What's a mountain lion? Where do they live? What signs might you see when you're out? And then why should we care? Why should we coexist with them? And what are the steps we can take to reduce the conflict with lions? So just to start, anybody here ever seen a mountain lion in the wild? Oh, lots of people. That's surprising. Anybody scared when they saw that mountain lion? All right. Um, all right, so lots of different names. You'll probably hear me switch between names as well. They all are the same thing, same species. Cougar, mountain lion, Florida panther, same species. There is a subspecies down there that is listed as endangered just because of their geographic isolation. But scientific name for all of the species, Puma concolor, means powerful animal of a single color. So, oh, hang on, I don't want to play that yet. Anybody know what lions sound like when they talk to each other? Besides Mark. um, so this is a female lion, and then her two subadult males coming in, and they're talking to each other. So you may hear this out in the wild. Not what you expect, right? Yeah. So sounds like a bird. I heard you say that. We do like sometimes when we go out to a lion site, we like to take birders with us because they can say that's not a bird. So not a bad idea. But yeah, that's just communication between mom and kids. Um, and then where where do lions live is a question, across the world basically, but mostly Western Hemisphere here, Western United States up into Canada, down into Central and South America, um, and then over you can see the tiny little spot over in Florida over there. So pretty extensive range. Um, and then yeah, just kind of mountain lion behaviors. So where do lions spend the day? Typically we see them we see them active at night. Um, and so during the day they find thick vegetation or hide under a rock or down a steep slope, um, somewhere they feel safe, away from you guys, away from anything else, just the light, just they bed down during the day typically. And then at night, um, this is when they get up and go hunting. So this is when we see them moving the most miles. And they'll move a lot of miles looking for food. Once they find something, they may sit on that for 10 to 12 days. It depends on the season, and how many cats are on it with them, um, and which scavengers are out. Bears will steal the kills from the lions pretty frequently. So, um, yeah. And then signs of a mountain lion. So if you're out hiking or you see this in your yard, there's quite a few different signs of that there could be a lion there. And we'll go through a few of these a little bit more in depth. But tracks, scat, different scrapes, which we'll talk about, caches, and then ring cameras, which is becoming a bigger and bigger thing, as everybody knows. So this is a pretty good track here. Not a typical thing you're going to see out there. This next one, oh, sorry. Consider yourself lucky if you do see the actual cat. So throw that out there. This is a typical cat track that you're going to see. So not as defined as that one on the previous screen, but this is what you're going to look for. And on the left there, you can see the difference between a cat track and a dog track. So dog coyote. And you're going to look for basic things to look for on these are those three lobes on the back of the paw. And you can see that in the photo. The dog will just have the two lobes. And then typically you're going to see fingernails or toenails on the dog, the coyote. The cats usually keep their claws retracted. So we see them every once in a while, but you typically don't see that. Lions are the paws more rounded, and you can see the dog's a little bit more diamond shape. So lots of good little hints to identify the track. The other thing is those two, I guess, outer toes. You can see the cats are rounded and the dog's kind of like triangle shaped. So a little bit harder to see in the dirt there, but lots of different things you can look for to tell if it's a cat or a dog. Um, all right. So scat, another thing you might see. Big thing with this, we get questions a lot on is this lion or not. Lions are a lot like house cats. I heard somebody say that earlier, but they don't usually go to the bathroom in the middle of a trail or a road. It's off and then they'll bury it. So like a cat in a litter box is what you're kind of looking for. Um, if it's not buried, it's probably a dog or a bear. But yeah. Oh, and it'll also be they're carnivores, so it'll be full of bones, hair, sometimes grass. Your house cat probably, if you let it out, eats grass too sometimes. Um, so this is the other thing, scrapes. These are super interesting. So they use these as communication between other cats. You may see these if you're out hiking, but I'll play this video in a second. But it's about my hand size, the picture on the left. And so it's just the cat. I'll play the video so you guys can see actually he's scraping, he's scenting at the same time. So he's communicating with other males that this is his territory. He's also communicating with any females who want to mate that this is his territory, and if they want to mate, they can come find him. They'll usually visit these scrapes every 2 to 3 months. The females we see come and they'll sit there and call until the male comes. So big communication scrape. So and that's literally what it is, as you just saw in the video. You may see them around kill sites. Sometimes the females will mark just to claim their territory. So there's just the size there. And then the other thing you might see is a cache. I know I got a call a couple weeks ago about one just right in Los Alamos. So they're out there. But this is what the lions do when they kill something. They'll cover it. You can see in the bottom photo, they'll cover it with whatever's out there. Pine needles, grass, dirt, sticks. So that keeps it fresh for them. It also keeps the smell down so the other scavengers stay away as long as possible. So yeah, typically the lion will move away from this during the day, pretty far, a couple miles. Sometimes they will stay and watch it. So I don't recommend hanging out there very long if you see one of these. I'm always up for a call if you do find one though. So let's see. Oh, here's just another. There's an elk cached in there, and mom with baby enjoying her food. Yeah, practicing for when she has to go do that. Uh-huh. Right. Sorry if this grows very It is there. And then she moves it out of view of the camera, which they do a lot. Yeah. All right. Very strong. 90-pound cats killing a 400-pound elk sometimes. So yeah. So we get this a lot. It seems to a lot of people that the lion population is increasing in our area. While that could be true, it's more likely that you can see from that top graph, there's more people recreating, more people outside, whole lot more ring cameras and security cameras picking them up. And then what do you think the other factor in expansion, human expansion, but we are moving into their territory. The other thing that makes people think there's more lions, though, is so social media, big thing. 10 years ago, people weren't posting this stuff on social media, so um, showing up new. But yes, we'll get into the expansion for sure. Some more, just there's a peak video there. I don't have the actual video, but just a screenshot of it. But some social media posts that we wouldn't have seen 10 years ago. Normally you would just, send it to your mom and dad or whatever. Look what I saw. So, all right, we get this question a lot as well. How many mountain lions are there in the Jemez or in Los Alamos? Um, so a few years ago, Mark, who's here in the back, worked with some folks from Santa Ana, Pueblo, and Department of Game and Fish to estimate population size in the area. And so per that study, they came up with a number 1.1 mountain lions per 100 square kilometers, which is about 40 square miles. So that's our numbers. Game and Fish is about to start another survey since it's been, 5, 6 years, 7 years since they did that study. They're going to start one this fall as well and try to get a new updated number on that. It's pretty average. Sorry, should I repeat that question? She asked if that's a dense number. No, it's not anything excessive. So it's kind of what we expect. The males have big ranges, the females have smaller ranges. So the males will kind of overlap 3 or 4 females. Um, yeah, I think I go into that. Yeah. Are the females pretty territorial is the question. They can be. Yeah, we've seen, actually have I couldn't mention it now, but we had a couple females interact. We don't know exactly what happened a couple weeks ago, and one of them she took off. So they do. They have their own territories. So okay. So what am I on here? Yeah, so like I said, estimating population of lions is difficult. And there's quite a few reasons. I'll just go through here. They're really hard to observe, as you all know. A lot of you have actually seen lions, but they're hard, they're elusive. They don't want anything to do with us most of the time. They have huge home ranges, which you can see this is a male's home range on the right in the picture there. They frequently move a lot, especially at night. It is difficult unless, we have them collared and ear tagged. It's difficult to distinguish which one's which. And then transient individuals. So cats coming in and out of our area. And I'll talk more about that in a second. But yeah, so this is the slide showing the photo of a home range of a male in the Jemez. And it's the hot spots. Those are just hot spots of where he spends his time, but you can see how big his home range is. So very hard to track. And they travel like crazy, the males especially. So this is a good one going into kind of the transient lions. So when they get to about 14 to 18 months old, they leave mom and disperse. And typically they can move hundreds of miles when they disperse. So finding a new territory, and it's dangerous. It's hard on them. But that means we have lions leaving, and then we have lions coming in as well, trying to find new territory here. So this is a animation of 3 of our male young lions dispersing. You kind of see how they use almost the same corridors. And then they just settle. The red one, he settled up in Mesa Verde. Our other little guy, the green one, he settled in outside Durango. So they're just moving in to find a spot where there's no other male lions, where they can actually have some territory of their own. So, all right. So this one is pretty interesting. This is a female. She was probably 9 to 10 years old when we did this, when we saw her do this. So not dispersing specifically, but I'll just play it while I talk. She left her home range, which is here, and headed out towards Texas over the course of about a month. Headed back to the Jemez, and then headed up to Colorado for a couple months. Spent some time up in Great Sand Dunes, And then came back to the Jemez after about 3 months. So we don't know why. We have guesses, but we're not, yeah. Some of the guesses, I mean, maybe she did have subadults. Maybe she's trying to get rid of them. Um, she maybe was looking for a different like gene pool, different male to mate with. Since we have a few just dominant ones that she's always mating with, maybe she wanted different genes. Um, uh-huh. Yeah, I'll just repeat that. So the other thought is maybe she got bullied out because she was older, um, and tried to look for a new home range. Couldn't find one. Just came back because that's what she knows. Um, and then we did just have this summer, another cat. She was probably about 5 or 6. Came over from the Pecos. She did a big loop as well up to Colorado. Took her about 6 months to go up to Colorado and then come back down. She settled in the Jemez for a while. Um, Caused some problems in Jemez Springs, killed a chicken. So this is like the transient animals I'm going to get into that aren't comfortable in that territory, which is what you see when you're typically dealing with problem lions. Um, but she's the one I mentioned earlier that came in contact with one of our local cats and just took off. She's up near Chama now, so she did not want to be around us anymore. So we assume that that was the territory fight. Uh, I don't know. I'm looking at you, Aditya. Do you know? Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's yeah. Um, all right. So main causes of the mortality that we've seen through this project. Number one main cause of mortality in adults and subadults is humans. Hunting is allowed, not in the national parks, but as soon as they leave the parks, they're free game for anybody with a permit. And then other mountain lions, so other just conflict territory mating. Um, and then with kittens, what we're seeing is other male lions will kill them or other predators. So. Mhm. Yeah, so the question was if a male will kill the cats if they're or the kittens if they're not his, and yes, he will. He wants his gene line to continue. So most likely they know they're not theirs because they didn't mate with that female at the right time. So we do have females that will mate with every male in the area just to cover her bases. So smart cats. But all right. So another kitten photo for you. Yeah. Are you talking about the ones that I'm showing on here? Yeah, so like I said, I didn't really go into what our project is, but we do have GPS collars on the lions, and we did on the bears and elk and deer. Um, we dropped those a couple years ago, but we do so we know when they're on a kill, and we can go out and put a camera up. So, and we do put cameras up on some of the scrapes that I was talking about because we know they use those. So we are lucky, but we also, um, yeah, we also have the data to do that. So, um, Yeah, so let's talk about coexistence, which is kind of the point of this talk as I introduced it through the first 20 some slides. There's a good quote from the Mountain Lion Foundation. I won't read it, but there is a good reason to coexist with these guys and not just kill them all. Um, so why? Why shouldn't we just kill them all? Um, big thing is just the social structure of lions and the environment that they're in. Um, when you remove a dominant lion, both male and a female, that opens up that habitat for one of those transient lions to come in. Those are usually the trouble cats that cause problems. They don't know the area. They're moving into town to get the easy prey. Um, people keep them safe from other cats. So they feel like, especially females will come close to town when they're afraid of a male beating them up or trying to mate with them. So um, just yeah, removing them causes just this ripple effect that leads to increased conflict within the lion population. So leaving those dominant animals out there is the best thing to do for everybody, you guys and the lions. But it risks injury to the female lions, death to the kittens when all these new uh, territories become vacant. So, and then at the bottom there, we do get asked about relocating lions. It's not really a viable option just because of, like I mentioned earlier, the social structure of the lions. They get used to, they know the females in the area, they know their territory, they know the males in the area. So relocation is just logistically challenging, can increase conflict in the lion population. So we don't typically do that. Whenever they want. Um, we have a lot of documentation on it between what 2 days and 80 days after they have their litter, something like that. Um, or after that, sorry, after the subadults disperse. But yeah, they can give birth year round. It just depends when they want to. So we do typically see, I don't have a slide on this, so I'll just keep talking about it. We do typically see births in July, August, October are the typical months we see it. Um, gestation's about 90 days, 92 days. All right, so this is kind of a sad, tragic story, but I want to tell it because it involves just urban interactions. Um, this is F23. She was one of our dominant cats in the Jemez, mostly in 2022, but covering a span of a few years. You can see her range in there. We captured her when she was about 18 months old. Um, just a little 85-pound subadult female, probably just dispersed from mom. You can see that first photo shows her teeth. They're nice and white and pretty, and that shows us that she's young. Um, and then shortly after, we noticed that she was denning. So it was next summer. Um, she was denning. So Mark and I climbed down, found the den, um, and collared all three of her little guys. Um, so I'm just going to touch on this because people always ask, but we collar the kittens. They have expandable collars. So as they grow, it expands with them. When they get to about 8 to 10 months old, it drops off, and then we try to fit them with an adult collar. Um, so it's not inhumane or anything. And I'll show you videos of them with the collar on. I think this is a video. Hang on. Oh, I think that was a video, but okay. Um, yeah, so this is mom after we collared them. This is just showing that she doesn't care either that we were in there collaring them. She did move them a couple days later, but see them moving around. They're about 3 weeks old right here. Still really wobbly. So. Yeah, and then once they were mobile, we started seeing her coming into town. Just it's a safer place, like I mentioned, for females with around people. She wasn't doing anything wrong. She was just staying close. But this is I believe it's a video ring camera. Somebody caught. I think it's playing. Is it playing? Hmm. Um, is it going? Okay. Hmm. All right. Well, it's her walking by with the three kittens behind her. I'm not sure why it's not playing. Um, um, okay. We'll just move on. Hopefully this one will play. And then this is another, just like I mentioned, a ring camera catching her walking through town. Still not doing anything wrong, but right there. So concerning for people, which I understand. And then just a cute video of these are her little guys growing up. They're about 6 months old in this video. All right. And then the next year, when they were about just under a year old, caught them again and caught the subadults and put adult collars on. Like I mentioned, the baby collars fall off, and then we put an adult GPS collar on them. This helps us track their dispersal and their independence from their mom. Um, and then things went downhill. Kind of blurred some of these images for you guys, but and this one on the left is not Los Alamos. It's just wanted to throw a car in there. So our first little guy, I'm 32, was the first one to disperse. He was the smallest of the males, and moved over from the Jemez to Los Alamos. Got hit by a car on the truck route, and was killed. So the other two at this point are still with mom, probably about another month. And as soon as she left them and they dispersed from her, they were about 18 months old at that point. M33, the other male, ventured into town and ran into some dogs. Unfortunately, he was shot and one of the dogs was euthanized. The other dog had some pretty extensive injuries. And then the third dog ran away. They thought he was killed, but he came back okay a few days later. So, but really sad for the lions and the dogs and the people. So, and then F34, who is the female, she was traveling with her brother when he was killed. Um, she likely didn't really know what to do at that point on her own. So she stayed right in the Jemez Valley where she felt safe with people around. Showed up on lots of security cameras. Killed mostly small prey along the river, beavers, raccoons, fox. And then she had a kill near the schoolyard, and Game and Fish ended up shooting her because she was too close to the kids. So, but yeah, life as a young lion's tough. Dispersal's tough. They've been with mom their whole life. I mean, imagine your kids going off when they're 18 months old. Of course, they're not going to do that, but it's a tough life. Searching for prey is tough. Usually, the young lions go for the smaller prey, which is closer to town. And as I mentioned, no hunting allowed in Bandelier or the Caldera, but as soon as they leave, they're free game for hunters with a permit. So every time we lose one of our dominant animals, we do see an influx of those dispersing lions coming in trying to find territory. The dominant cats will keep those guys out. So, but yeah, they're unfamiliar with the area. And then there's, as I showed in that graph at the beginning, lots of increasing recreational use by us, which is not a bad thing, but yeah. Um, that's a good question. I mean, it's allowed in some states, it's not in others, right? I don't want to go into politics, but we do. This is a big reason why Game and Fish is doing the population studies, is to determine how many cats we can handle being killed, we can handle losing. The numbers they got from the study in 2019 informed them, and they lowered the quotas, so there was less animals allowed to be killed. We'll see what comes out of this study in the next few years. But we're trying to do it the right way, at least with the studies and knowing the population sizes. So, Yeah, so we kind of went into this, but what causes conflict in the population? So between the lions, competition between the individuals vying for territory, for mates, changes in prey movements and prey populations, so the deer and the elk movements, and then increased human interactions, as we talked about with the expansion of just us. And then humans also love to feed wildlife. We love it. We feed birds. We feed the deer. That brings the prey into town, which the lions follow the prey. So if we stop feeding, lock up your trash, all of that, we may see less lions in town following the prey. So um, I know they're cute, but the deer and stuff. All right, so mitigations we can take. Just the next few slides are just going to kind of go through different things we can do to prevent any interactions or any scary anything happening, them coming into your yard, any of that stuff, what to do while you're hiking. So some of the mitigations, can't even read my screen. So, but yeah, this is not plausible for a lot of people, but it's an option. Livestock dogs, they can be expensive, but they work. They're trained to deal with stuff like this. Always bring your pets in at night. Have a fenced yard if you're letting them out. Keep them on a leash. If you are letting them out at night or in the morning or dusk, go out with them. It's not that hard. So keep them safe. Lock your livestock up and enclose your chickens fully with a roof. Don't make it easy. Um, Motion sensor lights, not necessarily going to distract the lion. They may not care about the light, but then you'll know something's there and you can go look. So those are always good to have out there. Electric fencing or other physical deterrents. I think Link is it's a brand of a noisemaker. You can set it. We'll talk more about this at the end too. It's different than a ditches project, but there's a really good Los Alamos project that I'm going to talk about in just a minute. But that's a noisemaker, and it can be set to go off when something moves by, so it's not like it has to go off all the time. Um, and then, like we talked about, remove the attractants, remove the food. Um, all right. All right. So like I said, some things you can do on your property. A little bit repetitive, but some new stuff. But don't feed the wildlife. Bring your feeders in, your bird feeders in. Bring them at night. That's a big thing for bears too. Um, Prune your trees so there's not little hiding spots under the trees. Those are good for even the prey, like deer will hide under there. So minimize the raccoons. um, Pick up any of the fallen fruit so that the prey's not coming in. Install the lighting, like I mentioned. Bring your pets inside. Don't let your cats outdoors. Those are super easy prey for any sort of predator. Um, and then seal up any open spaces like the bushes where they could be hiding. And then keep your garbage cans sealed or get bear-proof ones. We mentioned the blink. Um, and then yeah, so what do you do when you're out recreating and you see a lion or you're just out and you're thinking there could be a lion there? Um, Sorry, I don't know if you want me to read it. I can read it. But start your activities. Not during dusk and dawn. Don't go out at night. That'll minimize your chances of meeting a lion. Like I said, they kind of lay low during the day. Um, Walk in groups, make noise. I usually just talk while I'm walking alone, especially like around corners. That's good for bears too. Um, Keep small children within your eyesight. Carry bear spray. We carry it all the time when we're out. Um, don't wear headphones so you can hear what's going on around you. Good tip anyway for when you're out hiking. But and then don't wear a hood or anything that's going to obscure your view so you can see what's going on around you as well. So, and then if you see a mountain lion, first do that, or last do that. But get your children and your dogs close to you, um, and then put yourself between the lion and the children. The easy prey, quote unquote, just smaller. But you can pick them up, makes you look bigger as well. Stay calm. Don't allow it to act curiously, and we'll go into what those behaviors look like if you have small children. And then just make noise, throw things at it, be aggressive. they don't want to fight if they don't have to. So if you are the aggressor, hopefully it's going to back off. Every line's different, so I say hopefully. But so curiosity behavior versus hunting behavior is kind of what we'll go into next. So these are kind of some of the things you'll see with curiosity, kind of just looking at you, ears are up, heads up, oops, and then just sitting there kind of watching. So kind of a little bit relaxed, but a little bit up and alert. And then if it's too curious, don't run. A lot of these are the same thing you'll do for a black bear. Don't run. Don't turn your back, just back away. Don't bend down, makes you look like prey. Best strategy, like I mentioned, become the aggressor rather than the passive victim. Stand tall, make noise, throw things. There you go, throw things again, and fight. So hopefully this doesn't happen to anybody. Here's a video of a man filming a curious mountain lion. Have you seen this? Hopefully it plays. There we go. So that lion's just watching. I'm not sure I would stand there filming it, just to be honest, but yeah. A little bit of a long video, but it does move. Right. But that lion just wanted to go by. It didn't want to do anything to that guy filming him. He had his bear spray. He was ready. All right. So the differences between hunting behavior and curious behavior are just kind of this slinking down, dropping the head, um, body placement like they're going to pounce, flat ears, twitching tail if it hasn't started stalking forward. This next video, you can see the mountain lion there, curious about the guy filming him. Place. And then as he's looking, he notices there's a deer in the woods. So I prefer the deer over the guy filming me. That's what the lion said. And you'll see what. You can see like that hunting behavior. It's crouching down, it's watching. Slowly stalking in. I mentioned, I think that lions are ambush predators, so they're not going to go chase something for very long. So they'll stalk in as close as they can using the cover and then do a quick sprint. And there you go. Don't worry, it doesn't get graphic. All right, so we're almost done. Some additional resources for you. This book, Cougar Conundrum, is amazing if you haven't read it. One of the best resources out there, I think, packed with information on lion behavior, how humans can peacefully coexist with these large predators. Mark Elbrock is a long-time researcher of mountain lions. And then there's the Mountain Lion Foundation, has lots of resources. There's some out in the lobby if you didn't grab those on the way in or take a look. And then Game and Fish has put some stuff out as well. So lots of different options. And now this is the project that's going on in Los Alamos. Um, if you want to talk to Aditya, the lead on this, he's right here. I'm going to point him out because I'm not going to switch microphones over to him. But this project, I'll just go into it a little bit. There is the video is on the Peak website if you guys want to watch it from about a month ago ish. Um, and you can see it's an AI enabled detector. So they've set it up so they can detect when a mountain lion comes on camera, um, and then they can play a deterrent. So and it doesn't detect like the deer. It won't play it for a deer. It won't play it for any other animal. So it's a pretty cool program. Um, and then you can see this was just the other day. You can see that lion reacting to there's the camera there. There's the speakers. They started playing noises. I don't have the video, but um, and that lion reacted immediately. So pretty cool project. Definitely talk to him after or watch the video. Um, and then that is all I have. We can go into questions. Yes. No, go ahead. Yeah, sorry. I was looking at Mark. Not very. They're typically pretty relaxed up there. Oh, sorry. How relaxed is a mountain lion, or how threatening is a mountain lion in a tree? Um, yeah, that's we don't typically see them up there. We do see them in Los Alamos sometimes in trees though, but they're typically just relaxing up there. I mean, I wouldn't walk up to them and start doing something to them, but yeah, no, it's not a typical hunting like location for them to sit in. Do we ever see a mountain lion trying to jump over a fence in a yard? Um, I'm not going to say no. They would. I don't have any documentation of it, but I don't see why they wouldn't. I'm looking at you, but yeah. Yes, give him a microphone.
Uh-oh, I have a microphone. Dangerous. Um, so I'm going to address both of those questions real quick. Mountain lions typically will go up trees to escape. They do it a lot when they're being chased by dogs. They evolved with wolves. It's usually an escape behavior to get away from danger. So when they get into a tree, they're usually pretty relaxed. So I would say I'm not too concerned once they're in a tree. Um, Mountain lions are physically capable of amazing feats, so they can certainly jump over fences. One thing that most animals, humans included, animals are lazy. Um, if there's an easy yard without a fence and then there's a yard with a fence, 9 times out of 10, they're going to avoid the fenced in yard, go through the easy. And then every once in a while, they'll do something that's completely unexpected. But the majority of the time, they won't jump over for no reason at all. That's been my experience with it.
You can keep that. Keep the microphone. Yeah, but you can go ahead. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, that's a good question. So she was asking about the scat in the middle of the road. Um, that I mentioned is probably not a cat. It's probably a coyote or a dog, but it may have bones or hair in it. Coyotes scavenge the lion kills all the time. So coyotes are omnivores, so they'll eat uh, animals as well. A good question. I feel like I'd have to see it unless you have an idea, Mark. Okay. She was just asking what's the hair next to the scat, but yeah, feel like I'd have to see exactly what you're talking about. Go ahead. Yeah, both. So yeah, if you see a wounded mountain lion or a wounded animal, leave it alone. Definitely leave it alone. They can be more aggressive when they're wounded. So back away and then just go call. You can call Game and Fish. You can call one of the wildlife centers. There's one in Espanola. Game and Fish can also bring that animal to Espanola. Yeah, that kind of pertains to any injured animal, really. I would, yeah, just back away and call somebody for help. Yeah, because they know they have the experience to deal with it. Good question. We'll go you first, and then Ashley. Mm-hmm. It's a good question. So that she was asking if when we're seeing these cats on people's Ring cameras, is it the same cat traveling all around town? Probably not. It's probably a few different cats. Um, oh, territories will overlap. They like it, as I mentioned, because they're so big, they could be at the other end of their territory, and then the other lion's using the other half of the territory. They overlap constantly, but not at the same time. Right. Yeah. As I did talk about the transient lions coming in, so you may see those guys on your camera more than some of these resident cats that have a territory. So some of the transient cats are coming in, checking things out. Uh, what else? Good. Okay. Those are probably mostly what you're seeing on the cameras are those guys. Our dominant cats we don't see move into town very often. So I said Ashley was next. That's right.
Yes, I have a quick question that relates to that from the chat online. This question came in earlier when we were talking about the amount of cats per square miles. This person was saying that there's about 110 square miles of Los Alamos County. How many cats would you estimate are located within that county?
Make me do math. um, that's a good question. It's gonna be hard to answer that. Mark, you can add in, but because the cats do move so much and their territories are so big, there's probably quite a few cats moving in and out of Los Alamos. I wouldn't say that any cat calls Los Alamos home territory per se. Does that answer that question? Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Front page of the newspaper was an attack of a mountain hunters who were shooting a turkey call. How many other attacks have been reported? That's a good question that I'm not familiar with. I don't know of any other actual attacks. Okay. At least in 10 years. I don't know anything before that, but I don't know of any other attacks. Oh, I was going to say, I didn't repeat that question, but she asked if there had been any other attacks besides a hunter with a turkey call. Go ahead. Oh, it's not. I don't have it on this computer. Do you have it with you? Yeah.
Okay. Is this good? Okay, hi. So the question is, what sound are we using to deter the mountain lion? So right now for the photo you just saw, we're actually not deterring them there because that's just our own backyard, so we want to get photos of them. But when we do want to move to deterrence, something that works really well is human voices, just loud alarms, just kind of just varying it, like some alarm sounds, voices, just all sorts of stuff, because you don't want them to get used to the same noise.
Yes, go ahead. That's a good question. So how do the bobcats and the lions compete? I wouldn't say they compete. We do see, I mean, the bobcat, if bobcats aren't going to go kill an elk or a deer, so we do see them scavenging on the lion kills. and they'll rotate with the lion. Hey, I've never seen them feeding at the same time, though we do have a video of a bobcat and some coyotes feeding at the same time, which is pretty interesting. Um, um, but yeah, I wouldn't say they compete for territory or prey or anything. I wouldn't say they wouldn't. They will. We don't see it very often, no. I don't know if we have any documented bobcats. 3 documented bobcat kills. So yes, so they do. It's not as common though. It's not their primary source of prey. A bobcat? Nice. Go ahead. Yeah, that's the other video. I should have played it. There's some they make some kind of wailing, I'm just gonna call it, with caterwailing really, but when they want to mate, they don't roar like a African lion. You're not gonna hear that. If you hear that, it's probably a person or something. Yeah, there you go. It's like there's some screaming. Yeah. That's the other noise, like the mating noise. Yeah. They are. They're a lot like house cats. Ashley.
We had another question from online. Should you worry about a mother and cubs or a mother and kittens the same way you would worry about a bear and her cubs?
That's a good question. I don't think of them as the same, as in, you see a bear with cubs and you get between them, that mom's probably coming at you. Lions they just have different personalities. It's really hard to describe. I don't know, Mark, if you want to jump in, but they they don't want anything to do with you, so they're going to go the other way. I've walked up on lions with kittens, and mom will walk away and she'll hide in the woods and she'll just call them from there, and basically they're on their own. I mean, in a loose sense of that, but and they'll eventually come because they know they don't want to be around humans either. But I wouldn't say it's the same as bears, no. Yeah, can a lion carry a 90-pound dog over a 6-foot fence? Yeah, they can. Like I was mentioning earlier, I mean, that's a 90-pound lion. They kill 400-pound elk. I mean, they're not jumping over a fence, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, can happen. I feel like it's got to be a pretty dedicated lion because they've got easier prey out there, but I don't see why it couldn't happen. And if I think it, let's see. Yeah, I don't know that story either, but I don't know a lot of those stories in Los Alamos. So yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Mm. It's a good question. Depends on the cat, and I don't want to go too far into that question. Sorry, she asked, how do we collar them? So, but yes, with the adult cats, there is a drug. There's a sedative and a dissociative, um, and so Mark will dart them, and they fall asleep basically, um, and then so put the collar on. Usually takes about an hour, and then we wake them back up and they go. So, but that. Is it difficult? It depends on the cat. So sometimes we have some cats that want nothing to do with it. Sometimes they just lay down and let us do it. So I could go in. Sorry, there's a whole presentation on the Peak website you can watch about the collaring and stuff. So yeah. Well, they're not roarers, so I would go with purrs if those are my two choices. Yeah. So he asked if mountain lions roar or purr. Are they roarers or purrers? Hard to say. Yeah. They are chirpers, is what I would say. Mhm. They can purr. Yeah. You see it on camera. Yeah. We don't see them roar, so. Yeah. Not necessarily. Depends on what it's doing. If it's doing any sort of like those hunting behaviors towards humans, I would report that immediately. If it's just walking around, it's not doing anything wrong. And yeah, it's okay. We don't have, we probably have, I think, 10 collared right now. So we don't have all the lions collared by any means. So yeah. I mean, I always like to know about it if you want to tell me about it.
All right, I think that might be all of our questions. Thank you again for sharing your project with us tonight. And thank you to everyone for joining us for tonight's talk. Please remember to look out for that quick survey coming to your email, hopefully tomorrow. Check out the Peak website for some great upcoming programs for this summer and some of our past Mountain Lion programs as we discussed earlier. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us, and have a great night.